Hello, friends. Welcome to my channel, Life by Shauna. If you're not a subscriber, push the button and do it. Um, Today, I've got some great stories to share. I feel like what I'm going to share is going to be relatable, um, which I always feel like my stories are pretty relatable. Like, I don't feel like anything I go through is something new than what other people have to go through, right? Um, now I will say there are some situations I've had to go through that are abnormal. Like the kid's dad wanting to practice polygamy. Uh, we're not going there today. Okay, we're not going there. At the same time, even in those circumstances that are way out there, I feel like there are a lot of people that can still relate. Um, Maybe not with the exact situation, but certainly maybe in something similar. Like, I knew what was going on, but there are a lot of other people out there who maybe were in a similar circumstance, but they just didn't know it was going on, you know? And so there's some similarities even when the specifics aren't as applicable. But today, I want to share some things about things that have helped me with perspective and mentality that relates to our happiness in life, how we go through life, like if we're sailing along, even in the midst of hard things, or if we're trudging through mud, even though the situations could be similar. There's a lot of situations out there that it's easy to take offense to, right? And in fact, today, like as a society, doesn't it feel like everyone's offended all the time? Everyone has something to be offended by. If it's not to yourself personally, maybe it's a group that you're a part of and you're offended because someone has said something about your group, okay? Or other groups that you're not even a part of, that people, maybe not you, okay, that people aren't even a part of. They will be offended for other people. It's like we need to let that stuff go, okay? It's just going to drag us down. But I thought I would get on here and share some stories that I feel like are relatable. What's funny is I just made this video and then I got up, I went away, and I'm like, what was one of those stories maybe a little too personal? Anyways, so I'm doing it again. Taking one out, putting one in, okay? Anyways, I just like to start off by saying I am so thankful that I was raised, the woman that raised me, my mother, is someone that I would consider to be the least, she does not take offense to hardly anything, or to anything. You know, I'm so grateful for that role model in my life because I've seen her go through stuff from all sorts of different angles. I mean, obviously there's the stuff with family, right? Like, the people that are closest to you. But there's situations with friends or neighbors, or like, she was in politics. Like, how offensive can that be to be in, to hold a political office? And there were situations that I saw her in that I remember, even as a kid, thinking, oh, I would be so offended by that. And she just brushes it off. So I'm grateful for that role model in my life. So I'm going to talk about some close to home situations, including a blended family situation, which I don't really talk about that as much, thankfully, because there's not a whole lot to talk about. I think the Lord knew exactly what all the working wheels in my life needed, and they've worked out so well. But there have been situations, and I'm going to share about one. Um, and I'll share about that one last. So anyway, start off by saying, um, it's the people that are closest to us that sometimes we can find, we can have a perspective of taking things too personally that really we shouldn't. And it's helpful to feel, sometimes I find it helpful if I get outside myself and act like I'm a third person looking in, as if I'm an outsider looking in on my experience, and being able to process that in a way that feels detached, to where I can feel like I can weave through it a little easier, if that makes sense. So one thing is, I have a lot of kids, and I've noticed some differences with smaller families and bigger families. Bigger families talk about all this stuff, like, because they have all these siblings to talk about things with, right? Like TJ coming in, like us joining together, him only having one child. There's not all the people to talk about stuff with. But when you have a lot of kids, like they talk, and it's just one of those differences of having a lot of siblings or a lot of kids, and this isn't one of the examples, but it kind of is. I've had to learn as a mom to, like, as my kids got older and they would talk about situations growing up, and kind of make jokes in like not like a poking fun at me, but like, oh yeah, this was so horrible. And I'd like take offense, or my feelings would get hurt. And we talk about it. I feel like I'm over that now. But there were a few instances I remember feeling like they would be talking about something, and I'd be like, wait a minute, like, I was trying really hard at that stage in my life. Like, that was a hard situation. I gave it my all. And they'd be like, Mom, this isn't about you. like this is just something we can talk about because we all lived life together, so everyone gets it. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Okay, so I feel like I take things a little better. I'm in a better place. Through that, as my kids have gotten older, several kids are married now, so they have other families, other support structures in their life. Like my kids have in-laws. I have son-in-laws and a daughter-in-law, and even though I don't call them in-laws, I introduce them as like, this is my son, even though he's married in, because like we're family. But anyway, so as there's the group expands and my own kids' circles expand. I remember there was a situation with one of my older girls, who's married, who has in-laws. And I remember one day, I was on social media, and my daughter had posted a video of her. Oh, it was like a video that someone else had made that she was sharing. And it was basically talking about, this person who had made the video was like, I feel bad for people who've had bad mother-in-law experiences because mine has been so wonderful. And showed a cute little video that some random person made. And then my daughter goes on to talk about like how grateful she is for her mother-in-law and how much she helped her in this situation and that situation. And I remember reading it, and there was like, and this sounds, I feel small in saying this, okay? But I'm also trying to share the journey, and I talk about all the stuff, not all of it. Anyways. And there was a part of me for like a couple seconds, it wasn't long, but it was like there. I felt something in here that was like, why didn't she say something about me? I know that sounds so stupid when I say that, but there was that little part that was like, oh, I wish she would say something like that about me, you know? And like, it was there. And that me being the third person looking in thinks, oh my gosh, why am I thinking a thought like that? Like, why why would I be a little bit, is it jealous? A little um whatever about that? Uh because really, don't we want what's best for our kids? Don't we want our kids to be in the best possible circumstance, even if that means that someone else shines brighter than we do, right? Um, uh, then there was another situation that was very similar. There's going to be a pattern here. I know it. Um, Another situation with my youngest born daughter. And she has a best friend. She's been best friends with this girl for several years, and she's very close to this girl's family. And it was like the girl's mom's birthday, and my daughter was going over there, and they were celebrating her birthday, and she makes like a little post on her story. Okay, that was kind of similar, meaning like, I'm so glad, like, this is my second mom. She's taught me so much and I love her and all this stuff. Again, I hate to even say it. There was that little tweak that was like, oh, like, and the thing is, my kids do say stuff about me. But why would I have that little tweak? It's a wrong perspective. It was a wrong mentality. Now, I didn't sit there with it, like very quickly after I thought that, I was like, that is the stupidest thought. Like, am I not so glad? Is this not what I've prayed for? That my kids would be surrounded by people who are saying the same message as I am, who are teaching the same things that I am. Because y'all know, when you have teenagers, you can be saying one message and they're like, oh, mom and dad. And then someone else will say it and they're like, oh, that was so good. And you're like, that's what I've been saying all along, but it comes from a different perspective. And so isn't that what we want for our kids? And it's funny because I'm friends with other women that are in the same life phase as myself. Like, their kids are marrying into other families, or their kids have close people in their lives, like boyfriend, girlfriend type things. And we'll talk and they'll be like, oh yeah, like this one kid of mine wants to just go over there all the time. And they're like, I want to be the family that, and I'm like, yes, I get that. But at the same time, like, isn't that what we want? Like, if we want what's truly best for our kids, for the people around us, don't we want them to have the best? Which means that that may not be you, right? Like, and to have the humility to be okay with that. In my stage of life, I have grown kids that have kids now, so I'm a grandma. And at the same time, I still have kids in my own house. I still have as many kids, more kids than some people have their whole life, right? Like, I still have 3 kids in the house. And so I'm still in the mom game, like the mom game, where you're like doing all the stuff. So a lot of times, like, when we think of, let's say, a grandma role or an older parent role, like you raise up, you grow up and, because in the movies and in the books, grandmas are retired. They have nothing to do. But like in our situation, like my older kids are having kids when I still have kids in the house. I'm still working. Like, I try and make a home to where when my husband comes home from work, he can just eat dinner, he can relax for the evening. He gets up extremely early, so he goes to bed on the early side. And so I'm working, I'm running my business, I'm running all the errands, I'm making a homemade meal for dinner. Like, I'm picking up the kids from school. So my life looks different than if I were, let's say, 20 years from now, right? A different stage of life. And so I have to be okay with coming to terms that I'm going to try and be a good mom and be a good grandma and those things, but I also have to realize that I'm not the movie grandma or the movie mom. I'm not like I sometimes I look at some of my friends and I'm like, "Oh gosh, you guys have so much wisdom and oh, I love how you're doing this stage in life." And I try and be great and do well. But I do know that I'm not perfect and I'm not the best, but I am going to try hard. And so it takes like maybe some humility, um realizing that you can't be everything to everyone and being okay with that. You know. So, well, there's parts of that other story I'd like to share, but I don't know how I could separate from the thing. Anyways, so blended family situation. Okay, talk about needing to have a good perspective and mentality with that, because things are a lot different when you are helping raise a child that wasn't brought up with you, like wasn't there's not the same relationship there. You can't speak as freely. Your own kids, I could be hard on my own kids. They know I love them. They're not upset, like, but I'm going to be different with my bonus girl because the relationship is different. There was a situation one time. There was a situation one time that it was kind of early on in TJ and I getting married, and my bonus girl is real quiet. Like she's not talkative. She's not sharing all her feelings. She's she's quiet and reserved, and then here I am, me with all my kids, like you know so anyways, I remember there being times that like we would be talking about, okay, what are the future plans like for this weekend? Okay, because unfortunately, blended families, like schedules, they're going back and forth. And I'd be like, okay, well, this is the schedule for this weekend. You're gonna be at your mom's, and we'll see you, whenever. And there were several instances that I'd say, oh, you're going to be at your mom's this weekend. And she'd kind of look at me and she'd be like, and she'd say, yes. And kind of look at me. And it was, I wasn't sure quite how to read that. I kind of had the feeling like she was feeling me out, like testing me a little bit. Like, how is she going to respond to this? Like, how am I going to respond to this? And TJ would say something funny like, "Oh, we're excited too." She'd be like, but I wasn't quite sure how to handle that response, because she would be a little bit deliberate and kind of look at me, not in a mean way, not in a like a yucky way, but just kind of in a like, how are you going to respond? Like, and after it happened a couple times, I felt like it was coming from like, um, well, I'll just tell you how I responded. Um, I did not want, there's a part of me that could have been like offended a little. Like I wasn't, but like I could go there if I wanted to. Um, but instead I felt like she was testing the waters a little bit. Like, it's kind of weird when you first get married and everyone's trying to find their place and where things fall out, right? Or fall into place rather. And I just remember there was one time like she was like at our little island and she had just said that and I was on the other side and she was looking at me and I just reached over and I grabbed her hands and I'm like, I am so happy that you are excited about going to your mom's. I am so happy that you have a great relationship with her and that you're excited about going there. I'm so happy that you have two places in your life that you are happy about, that you're safe, that good things happen on both sides. Because not everyone has that. There's a lot of kids that want to be at one place and they are really not happy to go to the other parent's house. And that is a sad situation to be in. And I wouldn't want that for any kid. I mean, divorce for a kid is hard enough, let alone if you had if you hated going to one parent's house, or if the parents were playing like stupid games like who's going to be the favorite or something like that. Instead, like I wanted her to know that it was okay for her to be excited about going to her mom's and that it was okay that I was like down the pecking order. Like it's okay. And after that, I never heard her say that again. Like there might be times when she's like, "Oh yay," and oh, cuz we're going to do this or something, but there was never that experience that there was those few times when we first got married. And so I feel like having a good perspective on things is sometimes about having humility and also not taking offense. Not taking offense is a big thing. It's a lot of times people take offense and it's not even about them. Like it's not about me. Like I could take offense to something and it's not about me. I'm just taking offense for no reason. And so I hope that helps. Like I hope you guys got something out of that. One of the things that brought it up recently was a different situation that I was going to share the story about. I'm not. But it just taught me that thought process of having a perspective, maybe that's a little bit outside of yourself, trying to see like what's really going on the situation, and that it's not about us. By the way, do you guys see this green sweater and my cute winter mug? My previous message, this had honey pistachio matcha latte in it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. But now I've drank it all and I just have water. But anyways, love you guys. Leave a comment. Tell me if this helped, if you could relate. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.